was. Most other students said he was fine, normal.
That actually sounds pretty significant too, because those can be symptoms of childhood sexual abuse. So to say that this kid's background with this immense amount of familial dysfunction and violence around him as a young child, and then symptoms like that, okay. You know, this is... Like, I'm not trying to defend this piece of shit for just randomly blasting 3 of his fucking classmates or whatever, but to say that his problems weren't that significant is kind of ignorant.
Kid, you know, he didn't have many friends, but he did have friends. He was doing just fine. He was known as the quiet kid, reserved.
What the fuck? He was doing just fine, you know? He was suffering from a lot of internal trauma. You know, he was basically acting out, and he was mentally collapsing because he didn't even have outreach to go get psychological help, but he was doing just fine. Where are we getting the sponsor ad? Is this guy gonna fucking try to sell me some, like, Raycons at some point during all this, too? This is one of the things I fucking hate about the true crime section of YouTube, is that it's like, well, we're trying to get the victim stories out there so people can understand what happened, you know, get the story of their tragedy out there, and they try to make money on it, and they sensationalize the fuck out of it like this. Motherfucker, this guy blasted 3 of his fucking classmates and was suffering like a fucking crazy life at home, and you minimize, like, both things at the same time. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, he does look malnourished. He's got, like, this sunken fucking chest. It looks like he hasn't eaten. But with a family life like that, I doubt, like, these people were really pulling in any fucking money. Like, my family was nuts. So I know what, like, having crazy shit happen in the home was like. And that, like, how that can push you to be an asshole later in life.
I said he had friends, not many, but he did have them. Didn't act too
Explore
weird,
with us.
And in fact, he was said to be kind from time to time. He
Explore.
did attend the Lake Academy,
Ugh.
the school for at-risk youth. Seems he did have trouble learning, but I mean,
That was like a fucking horrible picture of him. That was like, I sent you my dick, please respond energy.
not. But I guess on the inside, he was becoming unrecognizable.
I like
Don't
to
advertise.
Oh, yeah.
Google Ads or
Okay,
Facebook
so I don't have it.
before blocking click fraud with Clixies. Not a fun fact. 1 out of every 4 clicks is fraudulent.
How would you know that? Analytics are completely fucked on all
That
social
morning
media
in the
platforms.
cafeteria in February
But
2020.
anyway, Explore With Us is a good channel, but I liked them more when they did Urbex. I kind of don't know if I like how they've become, because I remember what they used to be, and I kind of wish they'd go back to that. What is that Franco guy? I should put one of his videos on. I think I'll put one of his videos on. He's actually pretty interesting. He does exploration videos, like spooky exploration.
12. TJ was waiting on a bus to go to the Lake Academy. The 4 boys who were sitting on the other table were waiting to go to the Auburn Career Center. TJ, wearing a sweater with "Killer" written on it,
Oh
simply
god,
walked
how
up,
edgy.
pulled out his gun, and pointed it at Russell King Jr.'s head and fired. He then fired at Demetrius.
He saw the alleged shooter, who he identified as 17.
These are the worst fucking 3D models you could. Holy shit! Oh my god! Why? Look at the fucking middle one. What the fuck?
18-year-old
Are
junior
they
TJ
animated?
Lane, sitting by
Don't be
himself at a
animated.
table
Don't be
behind
animated, because I'm gonna laugh at something awful even more than I already am if you.
them.
We heard a loud pop, like a firecracker almost.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I looked, and he was standing above his table, you know, pointing his gun. And he took one more shot.
After opening
It's a
fire-
tragedy. It really is. But that was like I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Like just the way that
He
it
saw the
pops
alleged
up.
shooter.
Look at the. That looks like a 3D model at a food fight. That's awful. Okay, we can continue.
And
That's so.
I turned around and I looked, and he was standing above his table, you know, pointing his gun. And he took one more shot.
After opening fire at 5 students, he then
Jesus.
fled the cafeteria as pandemonium rang out. As he fled, he shot another student, Joy. He fired 10 shots in all. TJ was actually chased out of the cafeteria by an extremely brave coach. Coach Frank Hall charged TJ as he was aiming the gun at him. It seems TJ ran out of
That guy
bullets.
had big ass
and then
balls.
he chased him out of the school. Another staff member, Joseph Ricci, had just started class when he
Do
heard
that.
gunfire.
Serious to
He
charge
locked down
into
the
a
room,
gun like that?
Put on a bulletproof vest and dragged one of the shot students into the class, saving his life. Though it's also quite terrifying.
Okay, that's commendable. What a bad motherfucker for doing that.
The idea that a teacher would have a bulletproof vest with him in a school. TJ was then arrested right
It's the
outside
United
school
States. That's how
by
it is
police.
these days. Jesus Christ, I can't stand that shit. The kid fucking shoots a bunch of his classmates, and then they just nicely and gingerly fucking handcuff him and walk him to the car. But somebody of any other ethnicity than white so much as looks at a cop the wrong way, and within 5 seconds you get 20 people beating the shit out of him. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. These kind of kids, they shouldn't get this kind of treatment. You know what they should get? He should get his head fucking slammed on the fucking hood of the cop car while they're putting the fucking cuffs on him and just get his ass kicked mercilessly. What the fuck? It almost makes me wonder if some of these assholes try to understand what these kids do or feel for him, you know, too much. Like, I feel only bad that he came from the household he came from, but at the end of the day, he's a fucking piece of shit for doing what he's doing in this. And if I remember correctly, if this goes, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna fucking scroll just really quickly. If I remember correctly, I think yeah, it's this kid. He's a fucking cringe lord. He's the biggest cringe lord that ever existed. Wait till they get to the trial. I remember seeing some of this now. I remember now.
There's really not a lot you can say when you're responsible for the safety of 3,100 kids, other than the fact that we're going to do the best we can to make sure
I'm
that our
doing the
schools
best I
continue to be
ever
safe.
did. I'm doing the best
Continue
that
to
I
work with law
can.
enforcement, and I hope every parent, if you haven't hugged or kissed your kid in the last couple days, you take that time.
So why did this happen? What made TJ just snap and open up in the middle of a packed cafeteria in his high school? Well,
I
some
don't
said
know.
TJ
Maybe it
was
had something to
bullied,
do with his
but
horrible
that's kind
home
of
life.
unconfirmed. It seems that as he grew, he was becoming more and more of a loner, but even still, people said he was fine. He just became more reserved, more quiet. There's also some other people were saying that Russell
James,
King Jr.,
we're
the
doing a
first
bit right here,
person
we're
TJ shot, he was now
doing-
dating TJ Lane's ex-girlfriend, and that Russell had threatened to beat the shit out of TJ. There was some kind of love stuff, but even that's like unconfirmed too. These are all just like rumors that were going around. In fact, there's never really been a full-on motive established.
He was just a person that, like,
Ooh.
wanted to hide himself and keep all of his emotions in.
You
The
bet.
kind of guy that,
You
like,
know that
would
kid
sit
has
by
the best
himself and
Yu-Gi-Oh
just not
cards in the
bother
whole
anybody.
fucking
Chardon High
school.
School students are describing TJ Lane, the teen accused of killing 3 students and shooting 2 more last month.
I guess he was just
The students
anorexic his
say
whole
Lane
fucking
was
life. Look at this
unpopular
kid.
and came from a broken home.
The boys he killed had been nice to him a week before. Both Russell and one of the
Yeah,
other
but that
boys
shit
who'd
doesn't
been there
matter.
but wasn't shot.
You can be
They
nice to
drove
these kind of
by
people all
TJ
you
when he
want.
was
See, that's the
walking
take
out.
that I really don't like. Where a lot of people go, oh, you know, if I just had the chance to sit down and talk to the Columbine shooters, oh, fuck that shit. You don't know what's going on in the heads of people like that, you know? So what if you did? Maybe they would have postponed what they were going to do, but they would have still done it more than likely.
Alone, and they offered him a ride home. 2 months before, TJ posted this on Facebook. In a time long since, a time of repent, the Renaissance. In a quaint, lonely town
What?
sits a man with a frown. No job, no family, no crown. His luck had run out. Lost and alone, the streets were his home. Blah, 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 big load of shite. But it does end with, how improper, how rude. However, they shall not mind the mud on my feet if there is blood on
This is
your
like the
sheet.
edgiest shit
Now,
ever.
feel that.
This
Not
needed
just
less to
walking
go
you,
on
not
Facebook
just
and more in a
stalking you,
live
but
journal.
inside of you. Wriggle and ride. Feel smaller beneath my might. seizure in the pestilence that is my side.
Seizure
Die,
in the...
all of you. So yeah, that's a clue. Much obliged to all who
He
liked
felt
this.
insignificant
Wrote it
to the
myself in
world,
class one
basically.
day. Wow, look at you. The gun, by the way, that he actually used, it was like an old school Ruger. That was actually his uncle's. It had been kept in his granddad's barn, and nobody realized it was missing until after the fact.
That's a thing that really happens a lot in rural communities too. They just leave guns laying all over the property, you know? I mean, I get that's how some old timers are with their weapons because they're used to like the 1940s where you don't have to worry about shit, but you know, either to prevent school shootings or to prevent arming somebody who might burglarize your house for them, try to leave that shit in the house,
to say
locked
goodbye
up.
to one of their own.
This represents Chardon. Chardon is here for the family, and
Oh, it's not just parents that don't keep track of their guns in this country. There's all kinds of ignorant motherfuckers that shouldn't be owning guns that don't keep track of them either. It's just stupid people that don't know anything about firearm safety in general.
we're all standing here for the family.
You wish there's something you can do for the families, but just support. That's all you can do.
This time to support the family and friends of 16-year-old Demetrius Hewlin.
Something this devastating happening to the community, everyone has to just come together. All the love that's going around.
Serious Elliot Rogers vibes. Well, I mean, with Elliot Rogers and a lot of people like this kid who pulled this shooting off, all they're dealing with in their head is feeling insignificant to the world around them, and this is their way of getting back. You know, it's stupid. They need a therapist. They don't get a therapist. And in some cases, even if they had a therapist, it wouldn't have fucking done a goddamn thing. You have to want to get better.
At St. Mary Catholic Church in Chardon.
Some people don't. It's like suicide for some people. They don't see any way out of their problems.
He's super nice. I sat across from him on the bus. He always made me laugh a lot. He was so funny and had math class with him, and it's really different without him.
King is the third and final victim of the Chardon shootings to be buried.
That's fucking sad.
TJ was charged as an adult, charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of aggravated attempted murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. He initially pleaded not
He's a
guilty
felonious
and
monk.
said he heard voices in his head, that he had been sexually abused as a child. He also said he chose the victims randomly.
With some of the symptoms he had said to be displaying, I believe that, actually. I believe that all that shit actually happened to him. I don't think it justifies at all what he did, but I believe that that shit happened to him.
Said he didn't know them.
I also don't like when people say this shit. This fucking ridiculous system we have for mental health sometimes doesn't really take that shit seriously. It's like you get better study and metric on it if you do. Yeah, honestly, there needs to be more study of how the dysfunctionality of the average American home can contribute to mental illness in the long run, you know, for people. Maybe not even just to this kind of shit. Yeah. Like, people are fucking raising their kids so fucking poorly that they're coming out of their fucking homes, like, completely fucked like this. Like, people are so goddamn absolutely terrible at raising children, they turn out like this. This really seems to be the backbone of the problem.
He confessed to taking the .22 pistol to school along with a knife. He admitted he went into the school cafeteria and fired 10 rounds.
No, I'm not saying that it does, James. I'm just saying that there's, you know,
the students, but he chose
pre-aggravating factors in these things. There always
he
are.
didn't know these people. In fact, he was friends with most of them on Facebook. That was provably true. And then again, there was also the rumor about Russell maybe dating TJ's ex. All this stuff. So, whatever it was, he didn't just choose them at random.
And therefore, we request until September, the end of September, to complete our testing and enter a plea of not guilty for reason of insanity.
Or not guilty because of reason of insanity. I feel that's he knew what he was doing from the start. He planned it. You know,
This guy's making him walk up with him on the bike.
Before he had it all planned out.
I think that's just
Can you stop riding the bike?
All the news
Just
reports and the kids that were
making the guy
interviewed said
jog
that,
for the
he
interview.
had no expression, and who is in their right mind that does something like that?
So TJ was spouting all of this bullshit about, you know, wasn't me, was it the judge then ordered a competency hearing, and TJ was found to be very competent. entirely. He would later say no, he hadn't heard any voices, he hadn't been sexually abused at all.
Causing the death of Demetrius Hewlett, being aggravated murder. Yes. Causing the death of Russell King Jr. being aggravated murder.
Again,
yes,
with the symptoms that he was saying he was displaying, I don't know. I don't know. He may be backing out of it, but I have no idea. Some people are just born pieces of shit.
Yes, sir.
And so 6 months later, he pleaded guilty. Now this meant the death penalty, as he was charged as an adult, was off the table. And it would also spare the extremely distraught families having to endure a trial. Usually, you know, as we've seen in many cases, right, at sentencing, the perpetrator, they're usually still in denial. Didn't do it, you got the wrong guy! Or they're like, you know, I'm so sorry, it was an accident, or blah, 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 you know what I mean? It's usually one or the other. They're still in denial, or they take responsibility, you know, to some extent. Not TJ Lane. He didn't.
I think
do
this
either.
is what I remember of this
I've never
case.
seen anyone do anything quite as sick and disturbing as what he did.
If you could have your own Walmart store making thousands of dollars a day, and you didn't even have to manage it,
then I'd say that that's a pipe dream and totally unrealistic, and you're going to try to market me a scam. What's he fucking trying to look like Eminem for? Fuck is he
that
doing?
T-shirt is saying "killer," which was written on his sweater the day he did the shooting. I don't think his attorney knew he was wearing it under his shirt. As you can see here, he looks not best pleased. The judge didn't either.
God, it must suck to have to be the lawyer for somebody like this, because here's the thing. Lawyers might be blood-sucking vampires if you're on the receiving end of their bullshit, but when they have to defend people like this, it hurts their career if they recuse themselves in that. Like, they're there to try to get the best possible deal they can for their client. They don't have to like their client. They take the case on because it's their fucking job. Like, so, yeah, this is what I remember of it.
Demetrius, and I have enough memories to last me a lifetime.
Well, might as well call
Saul.
Saul.
My baby's life.
Yeah, no shit.
And he should never be able to do this to anyone ever again. Thank you.
You're lucky I have to read this because I'd be staring at you the whole time. Why? Why did you do it? Why?
You murdered my son, Danny. You are a killer. You're a pathetic excuse for a human being. In fact, you're not even...
Why the hell do the cops let these guys like this live long enough to see the inside of a jail cell? Call me edgy, or maybe equally as edgy as somebody like this, but just who gives a shit? Like, what's the big deal at that point? It's justice. He's in prison. Fucking just get rid of the motherfucker. Who cares? You think I'm gonna fucking waste a nice sleep that his mommy and daddy are weeping somewhere in their meth-addled fucking trailer park that their worthless fucking dumbass kid is no longer here because the cops said, fuck it, we're not wasting the taxpayer money on this asshole in jail? Jesus Christ.
Human being. You don't deserve to be called human.
It's fucking stupid.
You're a monster and will forever be titled a triple murderer.
His attorney also advised him not to speak, as if, you know, if he ever wanted to appeal, this could come up.
You can make it from where you sit. What? You can make it seated where you are, if you would. One moment. Take your time.
He did anyway.
Alright, it's fantastic. Saying pull the trigger that kills your sons, you know, masturbates to memory. Love you.
Wow, you're so edgy.
Can we all, like, collectively give a hearty fuck this guy? He was sentenced to 3 life sentences.
Oh yeah, I'm sure plenty of people are fucking this guy. I bet this scrawny piece of shit's getting bent over a prison toilet every single night, multiple times a night, and just having a train run on his ass.
Without parole.
I bet he feels really smug now that he's somebody's bitch in prison.
You would think the story ends there. It don't.
There's no way he's nobody's bitch. There's no way he's nobody's bitch.
Massive manhunt underway for the Chardon school shooter, TJ
I would love to
Lane.
know what his assigned bitch name is, actually. It's probably something hilarious.
And another inmate escaped from prison just a little over an hour ago.
What the fuck? Okay, this part I did not know about.
In 2014, while being held at Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution in Lima, on the other side of Ohio, TJ Lane escaped prison. Of all the bastards, this is the little shit who makes it. Bollocks. Chardon High School went into lockdown as soon as the news reached him. And TJ Lane, along with two other bigger boys, they managed the high-tech technique of scaling the fence to get out. They were
probably lacerated as shit trying to get over all that barbed wire, though.
Recreation time at the time. You know, I was always led to believe that outside of prisons there'd be like snipers and mines, but no.
There are snipers. There's snipers in those towers.
TJ Lane managed to escape with both his legs intact, unfortunately.
Just spoke with one of the corrections
Well, he's how?
officers. He advised that the two that we're trying to track down are both doing life. Maybe got nothing to lose here, so be alert.
Oh yeah, that's
One of
harsh.
the escapees was caught right quick. Lame, and the other, though, evaded capture. For about 6 hours.
All 3 escaped inmates out of an Ohio prison are back in custody, including convicted school shooter TJ Lane.
Which inmate? I believe it's the young one. TJ Lane. He's in custody.
Yeah, see, there were some woods outside the prison, and he was in there. He was caught with a pitchfork, of all things. He was ready to defend himself, I understand. He was taken back in without too much struggle.
Where the fuck did he get a pitchfork?
In prison, he was also a complete wank bag, getting in trouble all the time.
That's not surprising.
From pissing on the walls to giving himself a tattoo to refusing to do work, he'd get shit-canned in the can. After the escape, he was transferred to a maximum security prison. And that's where he remains to this day, in a tiny box where he will stay till his life runs out. With nothing but the memories of what he did.
Oh, that's a fucking hilarious slideshow.
Chardon recovered
Hang on.
and in the can. Transferred to where he will stay till his life runs
Minimum
out.
security, maximum security.
the memories.
Holy shit.
What he did.
Sticking him in the hole, you can see what the hell that did.
Chardon recovered.
It does its job.
Kind of, I mean, as best it could.
Shit.
After the shooting, the
He
rate of
aged like
teenagers
15 years in the span of 2 years.
seeking mental health treatment skyrocketed. Treatment for post-traumatic stress being number 1. Exactly 2 years
Yeah, no
after the
shit.
shooting, Russell King's father, Russell King Sr., was found dead inside his home.
Oh,
His
shit.
cause of death was an overdose, but he really died of a broken heart. Frank Hall, the coach who chased TJ out of the school, later set up the Coach Hall Foundation, basically on a mission to travel around and make schools safer places. It has its work cut out. Many of the people who were there that day, they still carry the scars, with them. PTSD, nightmares.
Yeah, PTSD is a motherfucker. I can speak from fucking experience on that.
Over a decade later.
It'll fuck with you for
Unfortunately,
the
it's
rest
also a
of your
story which
life.
has become far too common. I don't think I have a whole lot more to say on that. It's a tough story. It's a story of evil, pure evil. I can't see anything redeemable about him at all. I mean, there were the rumors of the bullying, rumors of the girlfriend thing. Neither were confirmed, and it seems like he just wanted to do it. So he did it. Ending the lives of Tree, by all accounts, great guys. Paralyzing another, one of our friends also.
I think the SWAT van was like literally just a repurposed ambulance.
Supposed to be a decent
This is
guy
a
and
really small
ruining
town.
countless
Damn.
lives. I'd also say he ruined his own, but who cares?
Coach Robert? I believe that's how you're saying your name in here. My country doesn't actually penalize prison escape. It's considered natural for a human to seek freedom, though obviously he'll be put back once caught. I think I might know where you live because I've heard of that before. I heard that it was somewhere in Europe, and like these dudes used some construction equipment that was actually in the yard, like the prison yard, to break the fucking prison wall down, and like a shitload of guys escaped. And it wasn't considered illegal that they escaped. I was always blown away by that. It was somewhere in like Denmark or something, I want to say.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate doing so, getting to the end, which is now, if you're hearing this. I think I'll have to make the next video just a little bit maybe lighter, you know? I mean, it'll feature this, so. These books were written by someone who either knows nothing about writing.
Okay, I don't care. I really don't give a fucking shit in the least, so...